Keep your rosary beads to yourselves. Welcome to this Richard Harris International Film Festival in association with Liberal Crisis Centre and Bear Spot present an evening of verse, of prose, of song and general chat. To kick off the proceedings we have that great mighty duo, Sean Kelly, Don O'Connor, Celtic Fusion.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Tom. The format seems to be that we just do a couple of songs and then we have some readings and maybe another 2 songs and readings and maybe 2 at the end. So it's quite short, our involvement. I thought I'd kick off with a song called For Those Who Died, seeing as we're Halloween Day. And this is a song I wrote, and the story behind this song is that around 1972 we needed, in the Reform days, we needed to get a number of songs down on tape, and I figured that the easiest way to do it would be just to get a venue that we could go on stage and somebody would just basically record as we sang the songs. So we were given permission to go into the Gay Theatre, the top of Connell Street, Parnell Square, the Gay Theatre, which had been locked, as you would know, the Micheál MacLeamore and Hilton Edwards. That was their theatre, but for years it had been padlocked, closed up. So we got special permission to go in, use the stage. So we had performed at a gig in Dublin. And at about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, we went into the theatre and set up reel-to-reel, very basic recording equipment down on the floor. And we went through a number of songs, the idea being that the record companies would listen to it and approve or whatever. So we did that. And when we went down to listen to the playback of what we had performed, during the songs, he had picked up a voice, a girl's voice, saying, "Daddy's calling us." And we were like, what is that? So we kept on playing it back. And the voice every time was just this girl saying, "Daddy's calling us." So, fortunately enough, we had recorded, what we needed to record, and it was seriously scary. This was like at about 3:30 in the morning in a theatre that had been locked up for years. And so we packed up the stuff and we literally ran out of the place. Now, I had a recording of this in my house for years, and it went missing. But fast forward years later, and I was writing a song, and for the chorus I decided to use the words "Daddy's calling us" in the chorus of the song, which you will hear. The other part of the song is for those who died. I came across a poem in a friend's house in Dublin, and it was a poem called "For Those Who Died," and it was about the persecution of witches in the Middle Ages. And I was really taken with the poem. So I tweaked the poem, used that on one section. So one section is taken from this poem called "For Those Who Died," all about the persecution of witches. And the second part is about the true ghost story in the Gay Theatre in Dublin. So here we go, "For Those Who Died." For those who died, naked, shaved and shot, for those who screamed in vain, let it be revealed. But those whose beauty stir torturers to rage, same for those whose ugliness shame, Lord, for shame. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. For those who died, refusing to submit, for those quick fingers broken, bruised, and burning on the spit, for those of us left caring what there might have been, deliver us from evil and keep us safe within. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. For those who died, bruised and broken on the wheel, the sins of the inquisitors we never can conceal. Oh, they had kith and kindred, and we never can forget. Faith alone would cleanse them, they would not submit. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. Come away, come away, come away from where we are. You know Daddy's calling us, so near yet so far. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Oh, the second song we're going to do is a song written by Sean's dad, Dermot Kelly. I'm sure lots of you will remember John the Man on the local radio. And Sean's dad was a great favourite of his, and he used to call him along with being a songwriter, he was also a bank manager and a great sportsman. He captained Limerick back in 1955, the Limerick hurling team. So a real all-rounder, but John the Man on his radio station, when he used to play some of Dermot Kelly's songs, would say, he called him the singing bank manager. So this is one of Dermot Kelly's songs, and the reason we're doing this is it's called The Cliffs of Moher, because I know that Richard had a fantastic affinity, as you all know, with the Wild Atlantic Way and Clare and Kilkee in particular, and so Sean's going to sing his dad's song, The Cliffs of Moher.
I'm sitting on the cliffs of Moher, looking out to sea. The broad Atlantic swells below me, a bridge love between you and me. The puffins cry above the tide, the seagulls glide through the air, calling you back from New York City to your home in the county of Clare. Come back, sweet Annie, come back, for I will be there. We'll sing and we'll play in the old-fashioned way on the hillsides of sweet County Clare. I'll hold your hand, I'll walk through the burn, mid limestone and flowers so rare. The yellows and the reds, the gold of their petals will match your blue eyes and fair hair. We'll visit when I be in fame, Killasula, where holy monks once knelt in prayer. But how can you stay away from me, darling, from your home in the county of Clare? Come back, sweet Annie, come back, for I will be there. We'll sing and we'll play in the old-fashioned way on the hillsides of sweet County Clare. I'm looking across at the great Iron Islands, Inishman, Inishmore, Inisheer. They night there, harassed by the ocean, mid waters so proud and so clear. But you have the dust and the smoke of the city, where people pass by and don't care. There's a love and a welcome as warm as the sunshine for you in the county of Clare. Come back, sweet Annie, come back, for I will be there. We'll sing and we'll play in the old-fashioned way on the hillsides of sweet County Clare. We'll sing and we'll play in the old-fashioned way on the hillsides of sweet County Clare.
Celtic fusion. Discerning members of the audience will notice I was volunteered into doing some heavy lifting. For an awful minute I thought we might have to transfer the whole gig to Crew Martin. I had some helpers. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we get to the first of our readers, and it's a local writer. Well, he's not from. He's an invader from Dublin, Oran Ryan. He's based here at the moment, and he's going to read from his novel, Life During Wartime, and it's very timely considering the situation. I'll leave him to elaborate Oran Ryan.
I presume I sit down. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Wonderful way to begin. So I'm reading from a few of my books. Life During Wartime is the most recent, and I'll also be reading from my poetry book, Portrait of an Atheist Monk at Prayer, and some other novels I've written. So I'm going to start off, as it is Halloween, something kind of scary. For any of you who are fans of H.P. Lovecraft, this is when the Arts Council of Ireland rejected H.P. Lovecraft's request for funding. So, here we go. I'm the demon god who eats your soul, the cosmic dreamer that dreams you whole. I'm the Lucifer lover who brings the pall, the cannibal in Gucci and number 9 Chanel. Is it me that you fear the most? I'm the lingering horror in everyday worlds. I'm the heart's dark hunger for all dark goals. I'm the oblivion beckoning within your soul, the yawning nothingness that swallows you whole. Is it me that you fear the most? The demons that sleep in our deepest doublets, our everyday insanities that keep us objective, apocalypses we long for, yet cannot confess to. Is it me that you fear the most? This one's called Opus Dei. It's about a trip myself and my other half took out to Cratloe Wood, and it follows on the theme of Halloween. On Sunday last, we cycled out, journeying to Cratloe, talking of sun and trees and silly things, our legs aching, climbing those hills, leaving the city limits, freewheeling down on the road as the road shot past, watching the swallows swing high. They were banking and swooping as we crossed imaginary highways of the mind, listening to Zeppelin and the Stones and the Grateful Dead. We saw the Shannon River like the great blue mirror shining in the honey sun. We stopped and stripped and swam and dived deep, looking for fish and finding nothing, surfacing to intoxicating curlews swirling overhead, calling and calling as they dove and swam ashore to suspicious cygnets watching us like river spies as we sat so tired and wet. So we moved on till sunset in that dead heat, and between the apocalypse and its aftermath came our coffee break. We broke bread and laughed, dropped acid, ate salads and eggs. We got on credit. The shop owner put us on the never, never. And outside that charitable shop we sat, eating ices as old men smoked and read, wondering what our time would be like. We talked about death as we passed the Pieta, as into Cratloe Wood we climbed, on walkabout till night brought its shroud, and Julia wept as the blackbird songs. We were stoned and reborn amid copses and labyrinths, melodious telegrams sent high in the sycamores, as multicoloured spiders wove haikus in the undergrowth. We surrendered by the evergreen, made love, and night came as our minds unhinged, and the light fled from us, and the moon bled black, and the bats sang Dante, and the ground opened up, and Lovecraftian things slid beneath petrified trees. And we prayed and wept as closer they came. They put hands about our throat and hissed, "Hope is for those who do not know the night. You kill yourselves to build new gods. You kill your gods to make them new." They looked into our eyes and saw the void as landscapes exploded and the wood burned cold, and Jesus came down from a fiery oak tree, and he fell into our arms and wept, said his father never loved him, that he couldn't go on, that time was lost, and we longed to forget, and we wept with him, and he said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, let our salvation be in this despair. Here in the heavenly casino it is written, those who love will suffer everything. What we desire will consume us all, and to whom nothing is given, everything is taken. All power to the spirit of the void within us. And this will be with us always. even until the heath death of the universe. And he kissed us both and left us with our dreams. And the sky lit up and the drop ships came. And we watched the world burn across earth, fire and void. Armies of incubi torched kaleidoscopic skies, chanting, "Nothing, nothing, here is but nothing. Let us kill everything, and we shall be gods. Let fire eat everything, and make the world anew. Let us make the world into the image of truth." And we held each other, and our dreams consumed us, as from a fiery willow came the evil one, looking dressed to kill, talking sincerely about ideals. "We are the pure of heart," he said as he touched us. His fire consumed all we ever were and would be. Our ashes danced like stars, glimmering in the cradle of creation. Our quarks mingling with the vestiges from where and whence we all find source. And thus we were dissolved. An interstellar disappearance. That infinite point, the first light struck. In that embrace, we awoke to badgers and hedgehogs and rabbits, foraging for food. We knew we had dreamed the work of God, lost everything in Cratloe Wood to find our true home. Thank you. It's a beautiful place, Cratloe Wood. I totally love it. Okay, this is in honour of the great and wonderful Richard Harris, whose movies I've adored since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. When I was asked to read this distinguished gathering, I was so thrilled beyond belief, because I love this guy. He's formed part of my imagination as a child, and I've seen him in so many movies. So one of the things I remember him saying was that, when you come to near the end of your life, you really, really desperately need to look back on all that you've done and know that it has meant something. So I have this poem about someone giving a kind of an imaginary speech at their kind of like retirement. So this is called Life's Been Good. Okay, in honour of Joe Walsh, if anyone is a fan of Joe Walsh, life's been good to me so far. Great guitarist. Good evening, good afternoon. Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming this afternoon. I would like to thank my mother and my father for that night of passion, which thankfully I will never know. Also, after my birth, the nurses, the doctors, and other technicians whose ministrations were crucial in bringing me back from imminent death in those critical postnatal moments. I thank you all, and how I love my life. I would like to thank my educators, those teachers who opened my mind to so many things, to the beauty of knowledge and the power of imagination. My education freed my mind towards independent thought, rather than just creating a compliant, malleable, soulless citizen with just enough education to perform in our great economy. I would like to thank the manufacturers of food and drink, of footwear and clothing, such quality work keeping me fed and protected, not to mention the makers of fridges and televisions, computers and furniture, beds and wardrobes, household manufacturers and those who help buy them, banking institutions, brokers of insurance policies, not to mention the solicitors who signed, sealed and delivered so many papers and were so completely impartial and totally honest. I mean, there's no place like home. I would like to thank, especially, the management of Larthurd and Enderhall Office Supplies Limited, 21 Lithgow Avenue, Dublin 3, who gave me a job 23 years ago, promoted me to Level 3 Executive Human Resources, Division 2A. I appreciate being a team player. The good work we did made a measurable difference, fulfilling and satisfying. I am grateful for my time with you all. I love my job and my wages were good. It completed my life. I would also thank my imaginary beautiful spouse, Rose, whom I adore above all. My wonderful children, all grown now with their own kids, happy and successful. All my close friends whom I care deeply for. My genetic predisposition for emotional bonds completes me. My capacities to emote and relate to colleagues and loved ones. I know I would be nothing without you, nor you without me. Finally, I would like to thank our great society. the state of our union with each other, our capacity for art and science, preserving civilization, our nations together extending the borders of the known, building powerful narratives, bringing meaning and hope to those who need it most. Thank you all. I love you all, and may the empire live on for 1,000 years. Continuing my optimistic train of thought, this is called Killing People is Easy. It's taken from one of my novels. Okay. Before I was dead, I lived a lot differently than now. Before achieving this post-mortem status, I thought there was only one life, the tax-paying, shelling out cash, sleeping, eating, earning a living and dying kind. To pay, one earned. To eat, one earned. To sleep safely, one earned. To marry or procreate or recreate, one earned. To count the moments before the working day ended, one earned. Time seemed to be, well, money. Thankfully, I was wrong. Thankfully, once you die, there's no going back. Time is motion. It's a kind of silent running. But where are you going? Time, no matter what you do, is a waiting between heartbeats. Then they stop. They always do. Like virginity. Life is something one should dispense with quickly. I pay far fewer taxes now, and I live more frugally. I have more time to be, because I'm not. Speaking of obligations, it was my mother who said that you only get one shot at living before the hammer falls and you get a job. She was standing at the doorway to my room when she said that. She was troubled at my life going nowhere, worried at my living at home, isolated and reaching 30 years of age. I knew she wanted me out of the house, but that isn't important. I was going anyway. We never really got along, so I got going. We were polite to each other, civil, but strangers. She was hinting. She wanted me to go, so I went. Then I met Aaron. Everything went well. We were lovers. Then following a kind of inevitable entropy, things went wrong. My mind failed. I lost my connection with things. I became depressed. I killed myself. It was easy. Killing people is easy. We are fragile. Killing oneself is very easy. There's too much drama about dying. Too many alas poor Yoriks waiting around long enough and then it'll happen. It's a question of time. Tick, tock, tick. But after I died, things went wrong. I survived death and I came back intact. Look, here I am. Talk. It was an anomaly. A physical, indeed a spiritual impossibility. I had a lot of my time on my hands. Free time. Time I didn't pay for. I threw away my calendar. Then I wrote this, or more correctly, rewrote what I'd written in other lives. I realized that the cycle of life and death had happened before, that the Julian year was a Roman conquest. I began wielding the fragments of other lives by these words. Maybe, I figured, it was the transmigration of souls, if you buy into that dubious dogma. I dismissed nothing as impossible, including the resurrection of the dead, the existence of Valhalla, and that Elvis is still walking in Memphis. That's a song, isn't it? But back then, before my first demise, before I killed myself by throwing myself like an idiot in front of a train, back then I was alive. I would have laughingly called myself living. I was myself, but someone else. Then, after the event, I knew the truth. Tricky. It was rebirth, art of the crafty kind. I was myself after I passed through death. I was myself, but I was somebody else, if you must understand me properly. This is from my more recent offering. It's called Life During Wartime. I was in Poland. I kind of got stuck in Poland for, too long. But it gave me time to work on stuff. And I inflicted it on poor Dominic, and he accepted it. So this support local writers. Okay, talk to me, please. In the beginning, I had no time. It's confusing these days. I mean to say, in the beginning, before the first commercial break, I felt this absence of everything. I was probably depressed between lifetimes. The mind, like a fallen empire, clings to past glories. Then, in the aftermath of the great silence, give or take an apocalypse before breakfast, came everything, which is a lot to take in after losing it. I was born again in the physical sense. I mean, I imagined I'd lived other lives like this one, but whether alive or not, I knew I'd be back. Our world had gone through similar cycles. Life, death, ice, fire. The elemental list is extensive, and it keeps the artist churning out the classics. The heat and the light irradiated forth, and from its nuclear core the oceans rose and fell and boiled and froze, and things began to cook in the kitchen of time and space and whatever you're having yourself. And from Saul's light and heat, and possibly more light than heat, the mountains rose and fell, and our species came and went, and despite our best efforts, we arrived on our little planet called Earth. Darker than the past, and brighter than the future present. For 5 billion years, the sun shone down on all that fun. We couldn't help it. Then, once more, with feeling, came everything. Once more, civilizations rose and fell, and then some of them, those empires we just love to write about, they also rose and fell. But wait, there's more. The best was yet to come. After those empires and the republics and the democracies and the autocracies and other polygamous policies that squeeze the soul.
Well, Armageddon out of here, folks. Anyway, Mr. Oran Ryan. Now some more melodic movements from Celtic fusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Two. I have a little bit of hoarseness, so hopefully I'll get through this one. This song I wrote with Dominic Taylor over here, I don't know, it must be well over 10 years ago anyway. And I used to have a bookshop here in town. And Dominic is he's fairly prolific with ideas and poems, and he used to ring me up. I have a new song. So basically, I put the music to the song, and he'd come down to the bookshop, and we'd work it out then. So we wrote this song about Richard Harris. From the field of dreams to the silver screen, I played the game of life. I was wild, a loner exiled from the day I took flight. Hell-raising days, they were crazy days. Played the field all night long. Had the booze and the blues, had the demons too, from wine, women, and song. I'm a man called Harris, a hero to the end. Proud to be a Limerick man, I echo in the wind. That's a man called Harris, a hero and a fool, born and raised by the Trady Stone. Oh, Limerick, you're my jewel. Yes, Limerick, you're my jewel. Any dream will do when you're 22, and fame is your only spur. When you taste success and your life's a mess, and love is your creed occur. As the end game nears and the night appears, I won't hide behind that tree. On my Father's face I see heaven's grace and the chance to be free. I'm a man called a Harris, a hero and a fool, born and raised by the treaty stone. Oh, Limerick, you're my jewel. Yes, a man called a Harris. I'm a man called a Harris. I echo in the wind. I echo in the wind. Yes, Limerick, you're my jewel.
Thank you. Thanks, Dominic.